Namaste, Vitruvians. Welcome. How's everyone doing?
Namaste.
Hi,
Good to
Mike.
see
How are you?
everybody. Hi, namaste.
Namaste. How's your week going?
It's going good. Um, Never a dull day. Uh,
Or night?
so,
Yeah.
yeah, some days it feels like my hair's on fire. The other days I feel like are just taking care of old stuff and just project management. And other days it's brainstorming. And so it's never a dull day. Good to
Yeah.
see everybody.
It is good to see everyone. And I feel like I live on YouTube. They had a 3-hour live stream yesterday with the buying blitz. And yeah, and then on, Saturday night also. So feels like if I'm not on YouTube live one day, I feel empty. I feel like a part of me is unfulfilled. Just kidding. No, but I don't want to spend that much time on it. But anyway, what's cool here today is we're not doing a download anymore.
Yep.
And as astute observers have already picked up, we are now doing the Vitruveo Spotlight. So super excited about that. Um, and I hope people like the name. It's our way of saying that we want to highlight and focus on those things that are really important to you, the community. And so in our weekly spotlight now, that's what we're going to do. So I don't think from a content perspective we're going to make any changes. We just wanted to change the name to realign better with how we are moving forward here.
Mhm.
So what do you like Spotlight?
Me personally, I love it. I know we went through like 50 names and we started getting into the weeds a little,
Yeah,
but I think I think Spotlight hits the point, and you know, uh, I think the content is much more important than the name, but
yeah,
I think the name hits the spot, and no pun intended. But
yeah,
I think it's good.
yeah. All right, cool. All right, so I think we can get started here. We got a lot to cover,
Mhm.
and I'll just be honest with you. I'm mostly an all-nighter here, so uh, I'm probably gonna want to wrap this one up sooner rather than later. So
Mhm.
let's get this going. Here we go. All right, everyone, welcome to Vitruveo Spotlight. This is season 5, episode 1. It's October 4, 2024. I'm Nick Kalyani, founder and CEO. And with Vitruveo Spotlight, we bring you all the things that were important that happened in the prior week and all the things that are coming up. And with me is Mike Purdy, who's our COO, who is going to help out with the content today and is also very active in our community. So, with that said, let's get going. Our first topic today, as always, is going to be the protocol. So, let's dive right into that. So, quick update. So, we are working on the code changes for the protocol, which is the most important thing here. The rebasing code revisions are partially complete. We have completed the code to reset the transaction goal to 10K. We've also fixed a rounding issue. I think many of you may have noticed this but ignored it. That when there's a rebasing oriented number, you see a lot of 9999999. You don't see like a 1 or a 10 or something. You see lots of nines. That was due to basically a rounding error. And what we still, it's not a rounding error, rather it's an issue when you divide numbers, because Solidity, the language of smart contracts, etc., and also to a large extent the blockchain uses only integers. Whenever there's any kind of division, there's going to be some issues like that. So we've got that resolved. We also had an issue with how the perks were being handled in the protocol. We've now decided to move it up the stack into smart contracts instead of the protocol, thereby fixing an issue that they were causing with the protocol. So that is all in play right now. Our goal is to get the code changes fully tested locally, and then fully tested on DevNet. So we are creating a new DevNet. So we have testnet and mainnet, but we're also standing up a 3-node DevNet so we can be doing this testing. And the last thing we have to add there is a random number generator. Why? Because what we want is for any developer in the Vlox gaming ecosystem that we are bringing up. If you want to create games, typically you have to rely on an external service called an oracle, like Chainlink, for example, on Ethereum, in order to have true random numbers, because it is not possible to have true random numbers in a smart contract. But what we've decided is, as a unique value proposition, to make random number generation a first class feature of the blockchain, which makes it super simple and super easy for gaming developers to build on our platform. So with this release, we will also include random number generation. Now, random number generation is very complex topic, and it is near impossible to create true random numbers. The way to evaluate it is the threshold. Are you creating random numbers for the purpose of some extremely secure financial calculations and things like that, or are you creating random numbers for the purpose of games, etc.? So our target is games, etc. So we are not attempting to create the world's most amazing random number generator, which is secure and cryptographically solid, and to be usable in amazing financial applications, mission critical financial applications. So that's not our target. Our target is random number generation for the purpose of games, which means the bar is a little bit lower. We don't have to go to any extremes to do that, and we'll make sure it's clear to everybody that the random number generation is not intended for mission critical financial applications. All right, so that is what we are going to do with regard to the protocol. Let's see what's up next. Next up is Scope app. As many of you may have already noticed, the Scope app has been updated today with Vitruveo staking. So currently, view and unstake features are available already, and the staking feature will be available soon. So you can stake directly from your wallet, and you can also stake from your vesting core NFTs. So let's take a quick peek at it. I have it open here somewhere. Let's see. Here we go. Here's Vitruveo Scope. So you're going to find the new feature here under staking. So you notice the vibe staking is gone. We are going to coalesce that into Vitruveo. So what you see here is, let's walk through it. So the blue squares, the blue rectangles at the top, are aggregate information. So you see the total amount staked, the total stakes, active stakes, and the rewards distributed to date. So the total stakes and the active stakes are different because there are unstakes. So this means that this number being lower is expected because people will also unstake. The second row here indicates your connected wallet information. Now, bear in mind that if you are not connected, or you're connected with a wallet that has no stakes, you're not even going to see anything below the blue boxes. It's just going to be blank. All right. So this is your aggregate stake, your total staked, and this number on the right here represents your total rewards. Now, it's important to understand that when it comes to staking, it is essentially a lock for a certain period of time. So this here represents your total rewards at the end of the period. It's not gradual. It's not showing you your total rewards as of today. This says that if you go through the whole period of all your stakes, that's the total reward you would be getting at the end. Here, the last box here says available to unstake. In my case, it's gray and has a 0. But if you have anything available, you're going to see this box go green. You're going to see a number here, and this unstake button is going to light up. You're going to be able to click on that and sign a transaction and be able to unstake that. So you will only see that if anything is available. Now, unstaking works on an aggregate basis. It doesn't matter how many stakes you have. It calculates all the eligible unstaking that you can do, and it gives it to you as one number. So it's always one click. Now, below here is a table, and please note that this table is scrollable. So if you don't see something, be sure that you scroll it. But let's walk through the columns here. So the first column represents the amount you've staked. The second column is the term. So it's going to be 1, 3, or 5 years. In the case of those of you who staked previously, it could be 60 days, 120 days, 180 days, and so on and so forth. The APR and the reward you're going to get as due to that APR, and you're going to see a rebase here. So this is going to be zero for a lot of small numbers. But if you start getting into some larger numbers, I think 150 and beyond, you might a number here. This is going to grow as we are going to implement the rebasing changes, etc. So you're going to start seeing more of that. Now, in the total column, you're going to see the total of your base, which is what you staked, plus your reward, plus your rebase. And notice here the little approximation symbol. And if you scroll down here, it says approximate indicates the value may be rounded up or down for display purposes. So the contract is going to always calculate with precision. But in terms of display, it gets really busy seeing a lot of decimal points and all that. And if your time horizon is 1 year, on 3 years, or 5 years, 0.25 or whatever, it's really insignificant. So elected not to show that. All right. The next column is maturity. Maturity represents when your stake is done. So if you stake for 1 year, your maturity date is 1 year. So you see the date of that, and you see a little progress bar. So the progress bar is going to be different for each one. It's going to indicate where you are in terms of your stake. So obviously, when that gets closer to the end, you're done. We also have the block number. So you have all the you have three pieces of information, all representing the same thing: a date, a block, or a progress bar, or as a percentage. So you can use that and interpret it in whatever format you like, but that gives you a good idea. The next here is an icon. This indicates the status. If you see a clock and a calendar, it means you're still in staking. And if you see a calendar and a check mark, it means it's ready for unstaking. So it's fairly automated from that perspective. And what you're going to see now, the new change is there's going to be a section here with the ability for you to stake. So unstake is first, view is first, and now we're going to implement the stake functionality there. So and as always, you'll be able to stake from wallet and stake from vesting. And our goal is to provide you with a projection calculator. So you can basically use a slider and say, okay, I want to do this much from my wallet, this much from my vesting. You can choose, you can do what if analysis on 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, etc. And based upon that, make an educated decision on what is going to be best for you. So we are excited to roll that out. Let's not forget that this is the foundation, the app, the UI, everything for what comes next, which is Vitruveo staking. We have not. That is also a first-class staking citizen. We're just doing Vitruveo first because it's what we already have the contract done on that, and it's much easier to implement. So with Vitruveo staking, it is a token-based staking. So there's a few changes to be made, but we'll have the layout, the UI all already done. So it's a matter of copying it and changing it over to Vitruveo staking. Also in play are the Vibe equity pools. I know people are waiting very anxiously for this. So we've got the general equity pool, the creator equity pool, the DEX equity pool, the validator equity pool, the patron equity pool, and I think I'm missing one. But yeah, those are all coming. The contract testing on that is completed. It seems to be working very well. And we are currently working on the UI. So that is all that's coming. Mike, I think we should take any staking related questions in context right now so that we don't lose. So let's see if there's anyone who can do that.
We have one from Rivera. He says, I have a question. I'm a bit confused as some others as well. I've been asked how will the Vibe equity pool work? Some say more people that join, the less you get as rev share.
Yeah, I mean, it's as expected. It's right in the name. It's a pool. So you have to think about the Vibe equity pool just like shares in a company. The more shareholders there are, the more you have to divide the number by. So yeah, this is how pools work. Other ways to think about it is if I don't know, 4 people go out for dinner and you get a cake for dessert, you split it 4 ways. But if 6 people or 10 people go, then you have to split that dessert 10 ways. So the important thing to recognize is And this is always the case, is you can split a small pie in a few with few, and you each get a decent piece. But if the pie is very large, and even there if there are more people, even if you get a smaller piece, it still represents a bigger number, right? So that's the way to think about it. We are not dealing with a static pool of income here. We are talking about a rev share that is constantly growing, right? So even if there are more people in the pool, because the rev share is growing, you're going to get a larger share. So the only way to go to ensure that you get 100% of the Vibe revenue share is to get in on the Veo bundle. And so that would be veo.vitruveo.xyz. If you go and get at least 10 bundles, which is $50, then you get one Vibe. And so then you don't need a pool. I'll put up the banner here in case people are not familiar with it. You have to go right there. But that's the only way at present where you can avoid being in a pool. A pool is essentially at this point the last available way to get into Vibe, because it's fast going away. I think when I looked yesterday, it was like 911,000 or something like that. So we are pretty much getting to the point where it's saturated. And so if you don't want to participate in the pool, then Veo is the only way to go. I hope that answers your question. What's next?
A lot of compliments. People love the staking, the UI. So you did a good job. And I don't know if people understand how laborious this was, and how complicated it was to get this done, because you've been working on this. Has been like a 3-week thing. You know, tell us a little bit about the complexity of this, and because many people were wondering, like, gosh, why isn't it launched yet?
Yeah, well, part of the problem is that I'm doing 55,000 things at once. If I was an independent developer whose sole project was to get this done, boom, I would get it done, in a couple of days or whatever. But one of the things is, when you're writing software, you get into the zone. You have to build a mental model in your head, work out the algorithm and code. So if you're a developer and you're focusing only on that, it's really easy. With me, my brain is context switching all the time. Like, okay, you might ping me and say, let's hop on a Zoom. I'm like, okay, I'm coding, so now I have to undo it. So one of the problems is, this is not just only the UI part. We have essentially merged 3 different contracts and got all the staking related data together into one. And we finally have a core stake, a smart contract that will be usable forever, because we can continue to define any number of staking terms, APRs, etc., as we wish in the future. It's very, very malleable and flexible in that regard. So yeah, and I gave you and the mods an early look at the staking calculator for staking. It's really quite ambitious, because the what if projections we're talking about include rebasing projections also. Because let's face it, right? If you're going to make a long-term decision like 1-3 years, etc., the rebase income also factors into how you make that decision. And so I wanted to include that in the staking calculator also, so that it's almost done. We'll get it out there. But I appreciate everyone's patience. One of the things we really try to do is produce quality work, and we don't always succeed in that, but that's the goal. We try to produce something that's usable and high quality.
Yep. We have another question. Nick, is it possible to stake the Vitru in the Vitru pools for the booster holders and OGs for more than 2 years, so that we can take advantage of the staking percentage?
I believe they're talking about the perks pools here.
Yeah, I think the 2 years is the 24 months is the perks.
Yeah.
So they're basically saying, to, rather than having the option to claim, is it, can we offer some sort of staking APR or something like that?
Yeah, the short answer is that Mike and I have talked about this, and we intend to give you a final answer on perks and really talk about perks in depth next Friday. But I'll give you a quick summation right now. And you saw in my earlier slide, I talked about the protocol and perks related issues. So what we have right now is built in into the Vitruveo protocol, two things: a Perks vault and a Perks wallet. The rule for Perks is they rebase over, they vest over 24 months, but the transition from the vault, which is where the perks are held, into the wallet where they might be claimable, only occurs whenever there's a rebase. So what we found out is that that action, the perks moving to the vault, etc., was actually creating some problems in the protocol. And so we've decided now to remove it from the protocol and put it into smart contract at a higher level, which introduces new challenges, but we'll overcome them. Long story short, that gives us an opportunity to play with the perks and maybe make it not so hardcore, where right now it is, if you claim, you forfeit forever, right? The rest of it, etc. So what Mike and I are going to do is kind of discuss what is optimal for both the protocol and for the community, where it benefits. There should be a win-win, And so next week, expect to have a session here in the weekly spotlight on perks. So we will cover that. This is your suggestion is noted. There have been other suggestions also with integrating that with Vibe, etc., etc., etc. So we will take all of that into account. Any ideas you guys have for that, please share, in Discord. Remember, the current setup, I'll just repeat it because it may be unclear to some people. Perks is a 2-year program. It vests over 2 years, regardless of what the pool is for, whether it's boosters or OGs, etc. And the way it's structured is that when even though perks might be vested, it doesn't become available for claiming until there is a rebase event. So whenever there's rebase, all the vested perks moves from the vault into the wallet where it is claimable. When I say wallet, I mean like a smart contract. So at that point, as an individual, if you are eligible to receive them, currently, if you claim, it's a one and done. You claim and you have now lost your space, your ability to get more perks. So if it's maybe a year in, you will lose all the perks for the next year. So that's how the model works. So we are going to again review it and talk about it next week.
Yep.
All right.
Next question was, are there going to be staking options for less than a year?
Yes, but they will not come until after we are listed, a few months after that, because the whole point right now is we are trying to create an environment where we reduce the sell pressure when we get into exchanges. We are preparing for that, as we've been noting, every past week. So they're deliberately not present right now. We want to get past the hurdle, where we have listed and things have settled down a little bit, and then we'll immediately introduce those.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk on that yesterday in Discord about the circulating supply, the max supply, the total supply, all of that. And just to clarify, and then additional questions on liquid supply. How much is liquid in wallets? So it became a bowl of spaghetti basically. But just to double tap on the data on that, the total supply is 60 million for Wrap Vitru, 20 million for Vitro. The max supply for Vitru is the 250 million, which will gradually grow. The 60 will grow as rebases occur, but will not exceed 250 million. And what the circulating supply is going to be is it's going to be less than 60 million. We have to, obviously we have to crunch some numbers because we're shifting so many things around. In order prior to list, we're going to have that data, and then we're going to be able to provide that for the SEX listing. So we'll have something, but just know that the circulating supply is going to be less than 60 million, which is great. I mean, our competitors are, in the 120 minimum million for circulating supply. So that just gives us the opportunity to have a lot of price growth as we progress. The other thing that we have to, I lost my train of thought on that. There was a point that I was going to make. Anyway, but the circulating supply is going to be, less than the 60 million. So I did want to clarify that. Oh, I remember what it was. Some people were confused by the 3 million number. The 3 million number is how much Vitru is actually liquid in wallets. And the community needs to understand is that the tokens or the coins that were granted from the previous project, those were granted, those were not purchased. And I know this is kind of a confusing thing to think about, but typically when you have a startup like a blockchain or something like that, people will actually take USDC and purchase the coin, and then we have that revenue. So the 20 odd million, 26 million, I think it was, Nick, I forget off the top of my head, of the coins that were allocated to the OGs were granted. They weren't purchased. And that can be a confusing thing, but technically they were granted, meaning we don't have that money, from the previous project. This was really a rescue project that Nick really kickstarted and wanted to make the community whole from the previous project. So those coins were granted. What that means is I wrote quite a few posts on this, that is really debt to the blockchain. And our whole purpose is to reduce that number as low as possible, because that equates to massive sell pressure whenever we do go to list. And we're seeing some of that right now. So over the course of the next 3 months, we're going to be with the implementation of the new staking programs, the general equity pool, the creator equity pool. We're going to try to manage that number down, the 3 million liquid coins. And that will really give us a chance to have some great price action and get some pumping once we list. Yes, there's going to be marketing. Yes, we're going to be doing all of those things. But the way the community can really help is, and where the money is going to be made, is going to be in the staking. It will reduce sell pressure for everyone. It will give the blockchain a really good opportunity to grow and pump. And so we're optimistic that some of these staking protocols and creator education, which we're going to get into in a little bit, is really going to help the price. But I wanted to just clarify this whole circulating supply, total supply, max supply, all of those numbers will be revealed as we get closer to SEX listing. But just know that it's going to be less than 60 million on the circulating supply.
All right, we can take more later, so we can get through our content.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's go on. So yeah, let's an update on Veo. So landing page launch 2 days from now, October 6th. It's nearly ready. The referral bonus feature will be featured in there. So if you put your address in there, you'll get the bonus. There's new marketing content on the page. I'm really excited to share it with the community and get feedback. Now, in terms of marketing, we are a little behind, no doubt about it. But we are now waiting on a quote from a marketing firm. What we've decided to do is, instead of try and wing it ourselves, we are taking a professional firm that has worked with influencers, who has a list of influencers, and they can select the ones that are best for us and choose them. The next thing is, I'm very pleased to report that we have been approved for a startup investor pitch at Blockchain Life Conference. This is happening in Dubai on October 23rd. What is a very high priority and actually gonna pretty much take up my entire weekend is they have a deck submission deadline of October 6th. So that is a crazy, gotta think about, what we want done on by October 23rd, and have that deck already reflect that. I just want to also comment that I know that we attempted to do an investor event in Dubai once before, and we didn't get the success we wanted. So I'm always going to be forthright with you and tell you when we do something wrong. What we try to do is learn from it. So I can tell you what I learned from doing that investor event in Dubai previously. I learned 3 things. One was lead time. We did not have enough lead time to really reach out to the right investors, etc., and make sure that they were coming. We didn't have enough lead time to promote the event, etc. So that was one problem. The second thing is, we attempted to create what is essentially a pull event, meaning get investors to come to our event, versus a push event where we go to where the investors already are, and so we can target them. So pull is definitely much harder than push. And the third thing, which is really the most important, which we got a lot of pushback on, is traction. We didn't have nearly the level of traction we have, especially with search and the number of artists and artworks and the community wallets, etc. And the as we were just talking about, the level of liquid versus staked Vitru, etc. So now the scenario has changed quite a bit. Learn from our mistakes, apply the new knowledge, and go to this conference, which seems like a pretty amazing conference to be at. And just specifically do an investor pitch, just to investors there, for the purpose of investing in crypto startups. So that's the objective. And yeah, we're gonna do this. There's some other additional marketing we want to do also, which includes things like paid ads. We're getting some quotes on that right now, and we'll start that up. As I said, we had intended to start on October 1, so we are about 4 days behind right now, but we are playing catch up, and we'll activate this as of October 6th. We'll have the landing page done, and then we'll start moving forward. So we fully intend to make October the month of Veo, and really, really seriously do marketing on that in order to get the capital we need in order to meet our goal of getting listed on at least 3 exchanges around the end of the year. Mike, do you have any comments to make on this?
No, I think we're really excited. We just have a lot to cram in over the next 48 hours. So yeah, I think we're in a much better position than we were. When was the Dubai conference? It was the old one. It was like 4 months ago or 5 months ago.
Oh no,
like that.
It was way longer, way more, way longer.
I can't even remember. Yeah, you're probably right. But when you look at what we've accomplished then, and in addition to, not only developments, but the tokenomics, circulating supply, the vibe. I mean, there's so many differences, on top of the push-pull thing that you were talking about. I think we're going to be in good position.
Yeah, I'm excited. And just so everyone knows, we are now also, as you will see later in here, having the exhibit stores feature running by the end of this month, at least in beta, which means that I will be knocking on every gallery's door in the UAE and trying to convert them to a customer. So we're doing that. Mike will help me with that. And we're going to get as many galleries onboarded as possible. So that's going to be exciting too. We already have a couple of good leads on some pretty decent sized galleries. So that's great. We don't need a whole bunch of them to get started. We just need a handful. And I'm pretty sure that we'll be able to do some great conversion there. All right. Next up, let's talk about Exhibit for a bit. So notice here that we now have 5 components to Exhibit. We've got Stacks, Search, Stores, Streams, and Studio. So Stacks is what's a new arrival here, and we're going to talk about that a little bit today. So let's look at what our new search features are. So in the current app, what we've done is we've added fluid layouts and pagination, which I'm going to demo to you momentarily. We've also added a detailed view for scrolling content. So, but the biggest implementation that we've done is curator fees. So now curators can create curations and make money. And boy, has the community responded. I've been doing a call for curations, and there are more than 700 curations in just the last 2 weeks alone. Artists are having an amazing fun doing it, and it's great to be able to see artworks surface that we weren't able to see before, because now the cadence at which new listings are coming in is so fast that you're probably on the homepage for at most a couple of hours, and then your artwork moves by. So it's important for us that we don't repeat what other places do, which is essentially make it where if you're older artwork, you're gone, your history. We don't want that. So we create many ways in which we can surface it. So let me show you some of the new features that are there. So we'll start off with the pagination. So before, we could only see 24 artworks per page, and now we have the ability to see up to 200 per page. So let's go with 100 here. And now What we've also done is created a fluid layout, so it increases and changes as you scale your window. So I got a giant monitor here, so I can scale it up really well. So that works really, really well and is very, very exciting. Now, in terms of uh, the spotlight, so we've got a spotlight here which picks 50 random artworks uh, anytime. It doesn't matter when they were consigned, and shows them for 3 hours. And everyone sees the same 50 artworks. Then 3 hours later, it changes. I'm very pleased to say that we are going to repeat the spotlight and have an artist spotlight also. So we're going to do the same thing. It's going to show 50 random artists every 3 hours, and you can go and click on one of them and see all the artworks. But the feature that I want to show you is this little eye here. So one of the challenges is when you have a scroller like this, maybe you saw some content, but you couldn't click on it or whatever. So with the eye, when you click on it, it shows you all the scrolling content all together, so you can take your time and decide what you want to do with it. So the same thing applies to recently sold. You can go through and browse those, and it works quite well. And last but not the least, we now have a little collapsible drawer situation here, so you can get rid of the filters and bring them back when you want to. And finally, which I find very exciting, is on the curate stack feature. We now have the ability to select all and deselect all. So I have 100 on my page right now. Can select that, and boom, I've got 100 available for in my curation there. So some might find it easier to work with it that way. The other solution, which is actually not very apparent, is the fact that all search selections are now sticky. So whatever choices you make, when you leave the browser, or if you're in a different tab you go, it will remember all of those. So those are all changes that we've made, that usability enhancements that we feel increase the ability for patrons to be able to find, identify artworks, and collect them. Now, in addition to that, we are now moving forward with our branding. So let's talk about that a little bit. But first, the most important feature, we now have direct staking. So what you're seeing here is a screenshot of Vitru Studio, soon to be Exhibit Studio, where all the artists, when you consign your artwork in Vitruveo, you have a vault, a smart contract that is created just for you. And all the funds from sales go directly into that vault. And there is a claim button up here that previously you could claim directly into your wallet. But now when you click claim, you get this dialog with sliders, which allow you to distribute the amount available for claiming in whatever quantities you wish. So you can say, I want 50% to go to my wallet. I want 20% to be staked for 1 year, 15% to be staked for 3 years, 15% to be five years. And then finally, this is grayed out at the moment, but it'll be enabled, how much you want to put into the Vibe Creator Equity Pool. We wanted to make this drop dead simple for people. You basically have to move your slider, so this adds up to 100. We don't expect you to do the math. Keep an eye on the top right here. When it goes to 0, you have done what you're supposed to do. Then you hit go, and it does that. So it essentially really makes it super simple to incentivize the behavior that we are looking for. So we want to really inculcate into artists' minds the difference between a marketplace where you are trying to basically sell art and flip quickly, and compare that to Vitruveo, where we are focused on long term. So we want artists to not be thinking about the equivalent of paycheck to paycheck, which is art sale to art sale. We want to get that out of the system and really help artists think long-term income and hopefully wealth generation. I really want to create the first generation of artists who are wealthy while they are alive versus 200 years after they're dead. So that's an exciting goal, and these kind of things help with that. So what I also do here is give you a peek at what we are doing with regard to the branding. As I mentioned, let me I'll talk about earnings guidance in just a second. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about that. So this is the earnings guidance that we are giving to artists, and really, honestly, it applies to everybody. So this is why I put this slide up. So here's how to think about whatever is in your wallet at the moment. That was not sponsored by Capital One. What's in your wallet? So here, the first thing is you can do is sell. I put it in red because that's the least desirable behavior. If you do that, you're probably working against yourself. So what you can do is convert your Vitru to wrap Vitru and trade on the DEX for USDC.pol, then bridge to Polygon for USDC. It's convoluted, and with the circuit breaker, it's also a very frustrating experience. Believe me, we know that, but these measures are in place in order to basically get us to a nice place, as Mike was saying earlier, when we get to the centralized exchanges. Is there a long-term possibility from this? Absolutely not. It's available now, and in all likelihood, I would consider this the worst possible strategy. So for you to go to the DEX and try and sell your Vitru right now is obviously the least smart thing you can do. So what should you be doing? Well, there are three other strategies that you should implement, and I want to especially point out that these are strategies that you want to implement now because we are in the pre public listing phase, right? So post public listing, you do whatever you want to, whatever you feel is right. But pre public listing, it's important to think ahead a little bit, and the red column is absolutely not the way to go. And if you're doing that, especially as an artist, I would argue that you are on Vitruveo for the wrong reasons. Please don't join Vitruveo right now because you intend to get a sale and convert that into fiat currency to go pay some bills. We are not ready for you yet if you're an artist to do that, right? We are welcoming artists right now who are interested in joining us for the innovation, for giving feedback, and building what we feel is going to be the world's premier platform for artists, not only now, but in the future. So what could you do? Well, you could hold it. One of the strategies is to do nothing. The money will sit in your vault or it'll sit in your wallet. It will be rebasing because we are a rebasing blockchain. And as you heard, our goal is to get rebasing reactivated with a lower transaction threshold by the end of the month, which means that as of November, we're going to see probably, we'll ramp up there, but we'll probably see soon weekly rebases and then daily. We'll accelerate pretty quickly as we get more projects and more users on here. So that means that just by letting the Vitru sit in your wallet or your vault, it's going to grow and create long-term income for you. So this is a good strategy also if you want to do nothing. But the best strategies are to stake or to invest. When you stake, you can do it currently for 1, 3, or 5 years. That option is activated for Studio in the creators, and it was going to be activated in a matter of days for everybody. So does that give you long-term income? Absolutely, yes. And it's a better strategy than the others for sure, because you're going to have more Vitru at the end of the term. The best strategy, though, is invest, and it's incumbent upon us to give you the tool. I know a lot of people are waiting, but it's buy into the Vibe Creator Equity Pool, and that way you can earn revenue share forever. But to the extent that it is not yet available, there's no harm in just leaving the Vitru sit there. It's not burning a hole in your pocket. It's sitting there, and we already had 3 rebases. So I see that some of you noted that their balance went up. That's the whole point of it. That's the beauty of it. You do absolutely nothing, and that number is going to grow right there in your wallet. But as soon as we roll out these equity pools, we hope that you will jump into those. And it is absolutely the way to get long-term income, because Vibe ensures revenue share forever. And it's, I think, the best strategy for you. Mike, any comments on this?
Yes, I have a lot to say about
All
this.
right.
So I did a post on this yesterday, and I really, really want to speak to the creators to really try to convey strongly the opportunity that you have right now. The whole purpose of the VOSD grants and the buying blitzes and all of that is to give creators the opportunity to accumulate a healthy Vitru bag. And you have to understand that that the opportunity, the community is buying your artwork in order to kickstart to encourage creators to come on board. It's a marketing tool that we're using to really build our ecosystem, to get creators on board, to create a lot of artwork in the ecosystem. And this is an expense that or an investment rather, that we're making in you, the artist. The only way I can say it is it's really, really foolish for a creator to try to sell their Vitru at 30 cents or 27 or whatever it is right now. And I wrote a post on this in Discord. Maybe a lot of creators haven't seen it because they might be, going through Telegram, but I want to kind of convey this. If you sell a piece of artwork for $100, that works out to be about 300 Vitru. A tier one with our circulating supply, the current price is 30 cents. Guys, we're not listed. When there's two urgent things that are going to happen. One, the VOSD grants for the community that's purchasing your artwork is a temporary thing. VOSD will be around, but the grants are temporary. They will expire. I don't know, Nick, do you know the exact expiration date? I know we've talked November. I know we've talked year end.
It varies by person, by specific grant. Some are 90 days, some are 60 days, some are as much as 1 year.
Okay, perfect. So you have the bottom line is you have a very, very, very short window to sell as much artwork as you can, to grow your Vitruveo coin holdings. And if you're just taking those and selling them at 30 cents, it's a massive, massive missed opportunity. Because we're, a tier one blockchain with our circulating supply. The vast majority of the change that with our circulating supply on an EV1, a tier one exchange, they're going for $25, $75 per coin. And so if you take, even if we were at $5, that, $100 piece of artwork would be $1,600 just for that one piece of artwork in terms of revenue produced by that one piece based on the Vitru that you're receiving. It is a massive, and I'm understating this, even though I'm trying to be emphatic. I'm trying to plead with you to please understand that the Vitru that you're earning from the VOSD, you need to stake it. You need to put it in the equity pools once they're available. You will thank us later. I know it's hard to see that, and I know it's tempting that you think, well, I made $200, let me go ahead and cash out. You do not want to do that. You're going to regret it when you start seeing the coin slowly increase in price after list. We do expect some volatility from now until the end of the year. We do expect volatility after list because we do have liquid Vitru that is still in wallets that we're trying to tie up into long-term staking contracts so that all of the new money will pump the price. That's kind of our strategy. But hear me when I say, when you want to use this time from today until we list, gather as much Vitru as you possibly can, keep it in your wallet, and then stake it or put it in the Vibe equity pool. That is how you're going to create sustainable income for yourself from your artwork and for years to come, rather than a marketplace model where you on OpenSea or Tezos or Object, you just sell a piece of artwork, get your cash, and then on to the next piece of artwork. That's not sustainable. So take advantage while the price is low, because you're getting a lot of Vitru at this low price. You really want to, you have to understand that our OGs, when they purchased our previous project, that was a $300 token at one point for one token. So you can see the power of investing in your future and investing in your artwork to create that sustainable income. So I just want to plead with you to really understand what you have in the next 3 months to sell as much artwork as you can, accumulate your Vitru bag, and then move towards a staking protocol. You will thank us after list. Okay, public announcement over, Nick.
All right. No, this is great. People, I say it all the time. It's great to hear it from a fellow artist. Yeah, you are an artist, and you are also a crypto investor, and a savvy one at that. And so people need to understand, artists need to understand that our blockchain is not about giving you quick flips. It's about sustainable income. And a sustainable income doesn't just come from selling your art, it also comes from taking the funds you make from that and being wise with them and growing
Mm-hmm.
it. So we are giving you direct access to the same strategies used by people for wealth generation for it everywhere. So whether if you think about it, even when it comes to fiat, people have these instruments for long-term investment where they buy a CD or something like that to get more investment, or they invest in a venture firm or things like that. There's a reason people do that, because you want your money to work for you. You want to multiply it. You don't want it to just take X and just use up X. You want X to become X times 2 or X times 3 or X times 5, things like that. All right, let's now look at the upcoming exhibit landing page. I'm very excited to to share this with you. Let's actually go look at it live. It's in preview mode right now. We are still putting some finishing touches, but this is going to be our new exhibit landing page. Age, you did a great job with it, so thank you for that. This is going to be a living, breathing thing. We intend to continue to build upon it, but right now it's looking pretty good, and we expect that next week this will be live. So we'll share the URL then. One of the things we are looking at right now is we are going to make the primary exhibit homepage very much like the Google strategy, where when you go to google.com, you go straight to search, right? So we're going to have that same strategy. So our content pages are going to be on a different link, but it'll be on the same top level domain. But really excited to be able to share this. Now, speaking about exhibit, one other thing we are also doing is we are in the process of enabling uh, the branding changes in the app, which is taking a bit of time because we didn't realize how much surface area there was. But you can see here, I'm now in QA. By the way, I make it a point to mention this to when I do my creator lives, but I want to also make sure I talk to our Vitruveo community here that we are doing all our development in the open. I pretty much talk about features, post them before, once we've decided we're going to develop them, and then 2 days later we release them and show them. But in the interim, you can go to for example here, search.vitru.dev. This is a QA site. It might be broken sometimes. There might be things here that might not fully make it, and the artworks here are all test artworks, but you can see live as things are being changed. So here you can see how we are changing the branding, etc. This is work in progress, so it's not done. But here you can also see that cool artist spotlight feature I was talking about. So we got the artists going on here, and when you click on them, you can go see their artworks and so on and so forth. Remember, this is all test data, so it doesn't reflect artworks that are on the production site. And we are also building this universal toolbar at the top here that allows you to easily switch back and forth between our various exhibit applications. We have removed the emphasis of each of these being different brands. The brand is one exhibit, and everything is just a feature of exhibit. And you see here, this about page is going to link to the page I just showed you, the landing page. So we are just doing some very consistent things here and cleaning up things. So expect more of that. And we probably will start pushing out things as early as next week. All right. So
Can I speak to that for
Yeah.
a second, Nick?
Yeah.
Sorry. As you can see, we're really elevating the brand and really focusing on exhibit and building it out to be an enterprise solution, not just a crypto project. It looks amazing. It functions really well, and you can see from the titles that we're trying to our whole goal of condensing and consolidating all the different verticals that we have within the artist vertical is now falling within exhibit. So having studio search, stores, streams, everything on one site to really remove some of the complexity that we had in the past. The next thing that we're going to be building out is, obviously we had the Dreamers website where we would help artists onboard and that sort of thing. We're also in talks to consolidate that into Exhibit, so everything is in one source. Support, FAQs, tutorials, screen shares, onboarding directions, guides, all of that stuff. We want everything to be within Exhibit. And that way it really provides one simple solution, one simple brand with a host of incredible features. So I'm absolutely in love with the direction that we're going in. I think it's the right direction. I think it's marketable. I think it's sharp. Somebody asked if we're going to do a dark mode. Probably not, because this really isn't an app. But I don't know. Nick could probably answer that. But I think there's a couple of changes that we have to do. We have to do a call to action. We have to do some other things. But I'm so fired up, Nick, with the results of this. Shout out to Adrian and the team. They did an amazing job on this. And yeah, looks great.
Yeah, so I expect to see this live next week. We want to kind of do it together with the brand changes in Search and Studio, all that, and we're going to do our best to catch everything, but we'll probably miss things. And for probably a few weeks or whatever, you might see some vestigial things. You might see a Vitru Studio or Vitru Search logo somewhere or things like that, but it'll eventually get cleaned up. And by the way, the primary domain is going to be app, so it's going to be exhibit.app. So that's where things will end up. All right, now let's talk a little bit about ecosystem personas and how we are making progress on those. So I think last week, I talked about ecosystem personas and about how we have this nomenclature: artists, curators, patrons, not collectors, subscribers, affiliates, institutions, partners, and providers. So far we've kind of, if you think about the product we are building at an MVP level, minimum viable product level, we've got things in place for artists, we've got things in place for curators. So now our attention is focused on patrons and subscribers, because when we go to Dubai, as I mentioned, I want to get galleries onboarded. And the way that's going to happen is when we have the stores feature going, which I'm going to talk about momentarily. So we are also going to release the Vibe pool for patrons. Next week, I will tell you how we are going to do a progressive formula where the more you buy, the more ability you have to get invested into the patron Vibe pool. And what incentives we are creating to attract patrons on here. This includes, as I think many of you have asked, this includes launching a VUSD buy page where you can go and use USDC to buy VUSD for the purpose of acquiring artworks. So all of that is coming up, folks. We aren't able to talk about everything all the time because there'll be information overload for you. But believe me, everything is in play. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about the roadmap and how we're going to go about this. So you notice here that we've moved stacks front and center. Well, it turns out that as an experiment, I posted on X a philosophical sort of a mindset change that we are trying to bring about with creators. If you look at most creators' posts, every time they have a new artwork or something, they're going to go post about that, and then they're going to repeat that. They're going to repeat that for many days, many weeks, until they get a sale. They're going to have the link to the artwork, they're going to have the price, they're going to have title, and so on. And the other thing they do is they repost their friends' artwork, etc., those similar things, right? So the philosophical change that we are trying to bring about, the shift in mindset, is to go from me to we, because that allows us to elevate the whole ecosystem. If you think about what we are doing with Vibe, etc., it's a similar philosophy. Don't think about the individual, think about the ecosystem as a whole, as a collective. And with the buyer blitz I've been doing on Thursdays, encouraging artists to curate 700 plus curations submitted using the curate stacks feature, which is an amazing feature, by the way. I love that feature because if it's not already apparent, no that we are going to extend that to other developers so they can plug in their own visualizations. So think about an infinite number of ways in which stacks can be visualized. That is coming soon. But anyway, getting back to it, stacks is our way of giving artists the opportunity to think, to go from me to we, because now what they do is they go through and look at all the artworks and curate a beautiful stack and publish it and post that on X instead. Now, I just want to be very clear. We don't intend for artists to be doing marketing, but if you're going to be posting anyway, better to post a curation than your own individual work, including your own work in the curation if you want to, right? The reason is that it's just like, what is better, a standalone store or you put your store in a mall? The difference is that people are already looking at other stores and they might venture into your store, right? It's just like that. When you have a curation, first of all, there's a variety of artworks that fit a theme, and they make it very attractive to a patron to go click and look at it and go, oh, wow, those are some beautiful artworks. So here's the cool part. Because you make money either way. You make money if one of your artworks if your individual artwork in that curation is sold, you make money. But you probably make more money if all the artworks in the curation are sold, because you get right now it's a fixed 10% of all the sales. So imagine that you've got 6 artworks in there at $200 a piece. That's $1,200, and 10% of that is 120 there. So boom, you've sold about 50% of one artwork right there, just by elevating the ecosystem. And let's not forget that those sales cause a 2% fee to flow into the Vibe contract, and therefore it benefits everybody in the entire Vitruveo ecosystem when one artist decides to take the step of creating a beautiful curation. So we thought, well, that mindset shift is working, so why not make it a first-class citizen? And so what we've done is basically very clearly said, Stacks is our go-to market, our first approach. And so we put it right in the front. Search is next. Search is more about individual. Stacks is more about the collective. So we are going to roll out the ability to visualize all these stacks right there on the site. So you saw the top nav bar in the prototype. You'll be able to click on stacks and see all the beautiful curations. We will have the ability to rank them, things like that. So a lot of things like that coming. So stacks is going to be the main way in which we're going to have people discover things, search. And then, of course, stores. Stores is, if you will, our Shopify strategy. Unlike other platforms, other blockchains, we don't have this idea of silo rather, marketplaces where all the artworks are in there. We have a blockchain. We've got a horizontal with all the artworks. And with stores, our goal is that anyone, it doesn't matter if you're an artist, it doesn't matter if you're a creator, you can just be any individual. You can go and create a marketplace in 10 minutes. Why would you do that? Well, because you can make money. You can easily go ahead and create a custom marketplace with a theme of your choice, a logo of your choice, content pages of your choice, and more importantly, a subset of artworks of your choice from within the entire pool of artworks. And you publish that at a URL of your choice. And you add a markup of your choice, whether it's 10%, 15%, whatever you want. And whenever an artwork is sold from your marketplace, you make money, the artist makes money, and the entire ecosystem makes money through Vibe. So that's exciting about stores. And our goal is to have at least the beta version of it up, because as I said, we intend to get a few galleries onboarded here this month. Streams will come next. We'll talk more about that later. Studio is already up. About is what I just showed you, the general information, the landing page about exhibit. So that's kind of how we are progressing with things. I predict that October and November will be stacks and stores kind of months, and then December we'll start tackling streams and get that going. And it's gonna be a fun ride, folks. A really fun ride. Okay. Now let's talk about BUSD strategy. Actually, you know what, Mike? Let's do the question thing in situ, because I think that worked really well. So if there's any questions
Sure.
around this, let's take them.
Yeah. So what prevents the viewer from going around the curation to avoid the 10% curation fee?
Nothing. But you have to realize that there's always going to be people like that who are looking for to skip that, or do shenanigans like clear the cookies, things like that. We can't avoid that. That's going to happen. But the vast majority of people don't even know that they can do that, right? They just go through and do that. So this is true of all businesses, all industries. There's going to be people who are going to try and work around the system. We can't be building our future focused on preventing that, because what it does is delay us getting the the primary product out. So we're not going to worry about
Yeah.
it. Just like every store knows their 2 to 5% of their product is going to be in loss because from theft or whatever. Everyone knows that, and they operate their business and put those numbers into that. It's going to happen.
Yeah. But we'll take each problem, or because we are in beta, we'll take each problem as it comes and work towards solutions as needed. Thank you for the question, by the way. How do galleries get involved? Are they choosing digital art from Vitruveo to display in their locations? Great question.
No. The way we look at galleries is specifically the 84% of the art market that is not on Web3. That's who we are targeting. That's a multi-billion-dollar market. And what we want to do is make it effortlessly simple for a gallery to onboard to Web3 without having all the negative elements of Web3 that they have heard from the media, right? So what are we going to do? We're going to make it super simple for their artists to get on board. We're going to make it super simple for their patrons to be able to get on board with things like custodial wallets, so they don't need to learn about crypto, anything. We are going to give the gallery the ability to preserve their brand, colors, theme, logo, etc. with stores, and create a new avenue for monetization. So right now, a physical gallery makes money when the artwork, the physical artwork is sold, right? What we're going to do is basically look at galleries that are interested in taking the artist's artworks. And because we have such a granular licensing model, you can basically take those same artworks, offer them as digital assets, licensed as such, and create a new revenue stream for them. So this is what is attractive, and with a global audience, So that's really the play here. I think there might come a day where we can also pitch to to galleries that here's some digital displays, just hang them up and you make a percentage. But that day is not now. That will come in the future. But right now we are focused more on onboarding traditional artists onto Web3 in a way that is seamless, easy, and just effortless.
Yeah. This was more directed towards the exhibit landing page. Will we have language choices?
Yeah, so in Studio, we've already built. We've got Portuguese, Spanish, Russian, Farsi. We have to keep that maintained and updated. Ultimately, everything we do will be multilingual, but we don't have the resources right now. When I say resources, I mean the capital to make everything multilingual. But it is our goal, and we did that deliberately in Studio because we have so many artists from so many different countries that we wanted to make it easy for them. But on the patron facing apps right now, because they are mostly visual and they don't have to do a whole lot, we can get away with not localizing them, but we will localize them eventually.
Yeah, I think that covers it for these Q&As. We do have more questions, but we'll tackle those towards the end of the
all right. So let's double down on what Mike was talking about earlier with regard to artists and VUSD, etc. I know there's been a lot of conversation in the community about what we do in terms of marketing and what is the point of VUSD, etc. And I've addressed this a while back, but I think it's time for a refresher because these issues keep coming back. And I think repeating them and reorienting people's thinking is important. Let's dive into VUSD strategy. So here are some facts that are really, really important. Fact one: Vitruveo as a horizontal EVM blockchain cannot compete with long-established EVM protocols. This is just straight up. Any rational person will tell you that if you got a new EVM blockchain, why on earth would someone want to build upon that when you don't have an audience of millions of people? That's what a horizontal EVM blockchain is. There are so many to compete with, including well-established ones like Polygon, Avalanche, Base, etc. Right? Even though those are L2s, they're still EVM based. Fact number two: Vitruveo is a blockchain with two verticals: creators and gaming. So our focus is on projects in these niches, right? Think about it from a developer's perspective. If you're a developer, you would be out of your mind to build a general purpose app which has no function, no focus related to creators or gaming on Vitruveo, because the audience isn't there. If you're building a pure DeFi app with with no art specific feature or no game specific feature, then you'll be better off building it somewhere else, because Vitruveo is not the place for you. But if you want to leverage the huge asset base we have, and hopefully coming up soon, we talked about last week the kinds of cool ecosystem features we're building with blocks. This is the place for you. This is absolutely the place for you, because not only will your app shine and have a spotlight on it, but you can thrive because you've got people who are focused on that very thing. So we are always going to look for developers and projects that focus on creators and gaming. Others are welcome, absolutely welcome. But my guess is that they won't find as much value to build on Vitruveo other than the rebasing. So if someone wants to do something rebasing related, I think that's great, But we want to be very pragmatic about it. Fact three: Vitruveo can only succeed if our marketing efforts grow customers in these two categories, right? So it's pretty clear. We have to get a lot of creators and a lot of gaming users onto our platform. We start off with creators and then we'll go to gaming. We don't have to do everything in parallel, but the gaming thing is going to take a little time to take off because we're just starting off with right now. But creators, absolutely, it's our go-to, our initial niche, right? So these three facts, please keep them in mind as we go forward and talk about things. So let's think about Vitruveo from a customer-centric standpoint. Who are our customers? Well, creators are our customers for right now, because we are focused only on the visual arts at the moment. It's artists. Artists are our customers. Now, every business, that's a startup especially, in order to attract customers, has to spend on marketing. That's a fact. There's no way to avoid that. And growth is not possible without incurring customer acquisition costs. So in different industries, the customer acquisition costs range anywhere from $20 per customer all the way to $250 a customer. It's much higher in SaaS businesses. And that's why they encourage, whenever you go to a SaaS business and try and sign up, they've always got the slider moved to annual pricing versus monthly pricing, because they want to know that they can recoup their customer acquisition cost in the first year. That would be ideal. All right. But sometimes businesses are unable to recoup their customer acquisition costs right away. And that's when you start getting into losing a lot of money. But the fact is that you have to invest. Your customer's acquisition cost is necessary in order for growth. Now, let's talk about our customer acquisition cost, right? Here's the simple fact. VUSD grants avoid us having to expend liquid capital for customer acquisition cost. If we didn't have VUSD grants, we would be spending, I would say, north of $500,000, probably closer to $1 million in customer acquisition costs. It's that simple. We would be buying ads, we would be doing PR, we would be doing all kinds of things like that in order to acquire customers. Now, as long as the overall ecosystem is healthy, VUSD grants are actually a smart investment in our future. Why? Because they don't require liquid capital. It's capital that is within our ecosystem, and if the ecosystem is healthy, VUSD grants are great. The unique thing that about VUSD that many people miss because they don't think about this from a broad umbrella strategic perspective is it is a unique competitive advantage over marketplaces built on other blockchains. Every marketplace on every blockchain has to expend liquid capital, in order to acquire customers. But VUSD is our moat, right? So if all we did was issue VUSD grants, but we didn't do all the necessary things to create value creation in the ecosystem, you're 100% right in your thinking that VUSD would be an anchor. It would essentially bring us down. But here's where I think a lot of people are wrong about that, because you don't assess the value creation. For a lot of people who don't know or are not familiar with the Web3 art ecosystem, they don't see the value we are creating, and they just look at it as, oh, it's just a search site with a bunch of artworks. But do the comparison line item by line item between us and Foundation and Super Rare and all those, and you will see that we are head, shoulders, miles above anything you're going to find anywhere out there. And because we are creating this value, VUSD is our catalyst. It is helping our growth. It is going to accelerate our growth, right? So when you think about VUSD, you can't think about it in a myopic way. You can't think about it as just, oh, this is an expense. You cannot think of it that way. You have to think about it in the broader ecosystem sense and as in the context of value creation. This is super, super important. So here's the best way I can illustrate to you in a very simple way. VUSD is going to be amazing for us as long as we get that purple curve going. We have to grow the Vitru market cap. The Vitru market cap grows when we create value, when we do exciting and amazing things to grow our ecosystem. And so that VUSD spend is perfectly rational. Instead of expending hard cash, paying for marketing, etc., we use VUSD. It's a simplest way to look at things. So believe me, it's easy to make an off-the-cuff remark about, oh, XYZ, etc., but you have to have spent hours thinking about this, strategizing on this, understanding the market to really see why VUSD is a really strategic tool that we have at our disposal to grow our ecosystem rapidly without expending a lot of cash. Mike, I'll let you jump in and talk a little bit more about this.
Yeah, so we try to get ahead on this because sometimes, in the core team, we've spent hours and hours on, building out the strategies and building out the offerings, and a lot of times we don't really get to communicate in depth the vision. We communicate the vision, but we don't communicate the why and some of those details. So the community is kind of left with questions of, I don't get it. Why are we doing this? So I try to, you guys know that I'm not known for my brevity. I tend to be long-winded, especially with Discord, but I'm trying to communicate the details that are missing in some of the AMAs, and really try to communicate the why behind some of the decisions that we're making in the core team. A lot of it is, let me backtrack. I did a post on September 30th, or a minor update, all about the vision of VUSD and the strategy and the exhibit marketing plan, and try to go into a lot of detail. But we're still seeing some feedback in Discord where the OGs and the creators are, I don't want to say competing for liquidity, but that's the perception is, well, the OGs are cash grabbers, the creators are cash grabbers, and there's this contention from a few. I'm not saying it's widespread. There's been a few comments, and I want to nip those in the bud, because the OGs, the investors, we have the creators, which is our customer, and we really don't want these two communities in conflict. We want to understand the why, and that's really kind of why we're trying to double tap on this, really to communicate that there's a very important strategy that we're doing in customer acquisition. And so I really want to caution people to spend some time really understanding the VUSD and the purpose of it. A lot of thought has been put into it. It's not just a print money and throw it around. That's not the purpose of it at all. A lot of thought has gone into this, and we've found the most cost-effective way to acquire customers while preserving, our runway leading up to list. If we had, let's say, $5-10 million, this probably wouldn't be the strategy we would go to. But with more limited funds, we want to be very responsible with the money that we do have in order to build our customer database. So I just want to be clear on that. If you haven't had a chance to go into the minor update and read that, it was sent about 3 minor updates ago on September 30th. Take a look at it, buy into the vision, and really continue to support the creators, because we need them. We need the creators, and they're awesome. So that's all I wanted to say about that, Nick.
Yeah, and it's important to note the strategy is working.
Mm-hmm.
We are growing rapidly, and the strategy is working really well. All right, let's shift gears here now and talk about a feature that is important for building trust in our ecosystem. And I guess I would leave you with this last thought. Vitruveo success currently is not possible without VUSD grids, right? It's just, take that for what it is. It's as frank and candid as I can be about how we are approaching marketing, etc. There's just no way for us to be successful without that. All right, so now let's shift gears and talk about building trust, and that's about creator level. So in previous weeks, I have indicated to you how creator level is going to work. Today, I'm going to share some more insights into it, and also talk about how the entire ecosystem is going to be involved with creator level, so everybody can play a role in creator level. Let's talk about that. So to review, we are building a system that is based upon standards. W3C, which is a World Wide Web Consortium, is the standards body that creates all the standards that we take for granted every day. So whether it's how your browser works with other web servers, HTML, whatnot, all those standards, they come from there. There's a standard in there called verifiable credentials. And that basically has 2 parts, a credential and a claim. So in this case, we put the word creator in front of it. So we are the issuer of the credentials, Vitruveo, and the credential is divided into 2 parts, a profile and KYC, know your creator. The claims are divided into 2 parts also, on-chain claims and off-chain claims. Now, pretty much everyone, without even a second's thought, can know that it is virtually impossible to create a system today of on-chain and off-chain verification if that data isn't programmatically accessible, right? So how are you going to make a claim that you did XYZ in, I don't know, year 2005 or something like that? How is that verifiable if there's no electronic way to achieve that? So that's the challenge that we've set out to solve here in creating this creator level. And as a result, we're going to have actually an independent system that we can use for different purposes. But right now, we're focused on creator claims. All right. So the creator credentials are the creator's biodata, their socials, which chains, which platforms they're active on or have accounts on, etc., and the KYC, the know your customer. Now, people, especially creators curious about KYC, should know that when we talk about KYC, know your customers, we don't have any access to any data. We don't intend to be a repository, a storage place, or a source of any information related to customers. We instead are going to work with partners. And the partner we are going to use in this case is Synapse. So Synapse does identity verification for many, many crypto projects. And that's the one we are using. So they will do things like liveness check for us, address check, etc. So and it's done with an API, so it's very easy, and you're going to see it in your studio profile soon. where you'll be able to click through and go and do the KYC. Now, we have multiple levels of KYC, and creators are free to do nothing. Just don't do KYC, or do one of 4 levels of KYC, as you're going to see or shortly. So just to address the issue of privacy and data, etc., any partner we work with is always going to be sort of an accredited partner that works with the laws and regulations and standards. So in this case here, this is a company based in France. They are GDPR compliant. They have global coverage. They are ISO 27001, 001 certified, etc., etc. What we get from them is the creator username and what level they have passed. That's it. We have nothing else. We already have your email address, which we require you for login. But other than that, we have absolutely no information. So there's nothing to protect because we don't have anything in the first place. So now the second part of this is creator claims. So a creator claim has 6 components. There's a title, whether it's on-chain or off-chain, what category it belongs to, what is the claim being made. The claim being made is I worked at Gallery XYZ from 2001 to 2005, something like that. Evidence links. So what links can you provide in order to support your claim as evidence? And then finally, a bounty. So there's 2 kinds of bounties. Vitruveo will for the foreseeable future, for every claim, make a small bounty available. I'm talking about a very small amount. The creator or whoever is valid, who wants the claim validated, can also chip in and put a bounty, add to the bounty if they want to. It's an optional thing. You do it, you don't do it. It's fine. Either way is fine. So that's the creator claims. Now let's see how it works. So let's say a creator makes a claim in a specific category. My work was exhibited in Paris in 2018, right? So your category needs to be one of these things: sales metrics, exhibitions, gallery, so on and so forth. In this case, it would be number 2, exhibitions and fairs. Now the creator provides evidence. Now evidence is in the form of links. It is your responsibility to gather and post online all the evidence for someone else to validate the claim. So we don't expect people who are validating the claim to go digging. They can if they want to, but you really should provide the evidence necessary to support your claim. For example, it could be photos from the event. It could be newspaper clippings, whatever. Just you would have photos of them. You would stick them all into a Google folder or something like that and share the link to that folder. So it doesn't matter if you don't have a website. It doesn't matter if there's no website present for whatever exhibition you did. All of that doesn't matter. What you can do is find the best way in which you can prove evidence of what you did is true and present that in as factual a way as possible. Now, you provide a bounty. So how much Vitru are you willing to pay in total to all claim checkers who are going to verify your claim? Now, you can pay 0 if you wish. As I said earlier, Vitruveo will pay an initial amount from a pool reserved for this purpose. Now, don't think that these claim checking funds, etc., bounties are life-changing money by any means. We're talking small amounts. We're talking $1 to $5 or something like that. We have to decide on that right now, but it's not going to be large amounts, right? So then what happens? Well, the claim checker, whoever is going to claim check you, can be anybody. And this is what I said. This is an opportunity for ecosystem members to make some money. But you yourself must be KYC L4 level set verified. We'll talk about those levels in a moment. And just like, validators on Ethereum, etc., stake, a claim checker also has to stake funds. Why? Well, we want to make sure they're honest, because if they are dishonest, they lose those funds. So in order to keep you honest, you stake. When you decide you don't want to be a claim checker anymore, you take the stake back. It's that simple. Now, we have rules around checking claims. For each type of claim, each category of claim, there is a number of claim checkers needed. And we typically look for a supermajority. So that's 66.6% have to agree. They can agree that the claim is true. They can agree that the claim is false based upon the evidence you presented. So we know nothing about it. We are, as a protocol, we have no role at all in the validation process. It's totally decentralized. So all the claim checkers look at the evidence you presented. If you provide weak evidence, then they're going to say your claim is false. So it's up to you to provide good evidence. If they find out that the evidence is good and they say, okay, yeah, a number of people agree that, yep, that seems reasonable, then they will say that claim is true. But if a majority of people find the claim to be false, as the person initiating the claim, you're going to get negative points because you're essentially lying. And the claim checkers or the fact checkers are saying, hey, this is not true. They could also come back with a unverifiable result, like based on the evidence, it is not possible to verify this claim. Ideally, what you want is to provide enough evidence where people can go and say, yep, this is true. And then what happens is you get the points to enhance your creator level. So what happens in step 2? So the claim checkers will verify your claims and vote true or false. And if your claim is rejected, then and you have a certain number of it's kind of like a red card in soccer or whatever. You get enough of those and then you're booted. So it's like that. You have enough false claim and then you cannot use the system anymore. So for all practical purposes, your level is frozen at whatever it was. You cannot increase it anymore. If there's no result, your claim is retired. So how does the scoring work? So the scoring is out of 10,000 points. And those of you who are in the financial system will recognize that that is basis points. It's the same as 100%. 10,000 basis points makes for 100%. Your profile counts for 1,000 points. Your KYC counts for 3,500 points. Your on-chain claims for 2,000 and your off-chain claims for 3,500. These numbers could change. This is still very fluid. It's in development. So how does the creator level work? Well, you have levels L1 through L5. L1 is email. L2 is phone for 500 points. L3 is liveness. So that's probably where using Synapse, you hop on the app and show your face and things like that. I don't know exactly. I have to go through it. You got 1,000 points. Your ID. This is similar to what you do with most exchanges. You know, you hold your picture with the ID or whatever. That's another 1,000 points. And then last, physical address verification with the utility bill or something like that is an additional 1,000 points. Now, at each of these levels, you can get additional points by making claims. The claims could be anything you want in those 10 or so categories. We don't care. But you're constrained. You cannot get to the next level unless you actually complete that KYC verification. So you might go and accumulate lots of points from your profile and things like that, but it still won't move the needle on your level until you create that KYC. So KYC is kind of like a driver. It controls the level. Now, after those points are accumulated, then what we do is we are able to categorize the creators, and we have 4 categories: starters, novas, virtuosos, and maestros. And the number of points you've accumulated determines where you are. And remember, the points are very fluid. They change all the time. If you go and submit 10 claims today, then your number is going to change and you're going to be there. If you go and do KYC for another level, the number is going to change. You're going to move up in there. But we've decided to basically make this very fluid. You're not going to move lower, because unless you deliberately delete a claim or something like that, it's not going to move lower. There's also the possibility of your KYC lapsing. I don't know what the threshold is on that. We'll have to look into that. But generally, it's an upward mobility thing. So our goal is to make sure that we can give our patrons the best experience possible. What that means is we don't want to have someone who started yesterday, their artwork, just next to someone who's been there for 30 years and has done 100 exhibitions and has been featured in the top art magazines, etc. This is important because we're going to be onboarding all these folks who are not in Web3, and that's one of their number one complaints. I don't want my art, which I've worked very hard for years to build this reputation, to be lumped together with everybody else. So this is where the categories are more important. Categories are also tied to trust. patrons will know when someone is in a certain category that they are able to price their artwork a certain way. So if you're going to price your artwork at $10,000 or $100,000, you'll probably be at the upper echelon of levels, because you've done all these things that cause your level to go up. So a patron knows, by virtue of you being in that category, that you're not a scammer. So this is all about building trust, as I said, and it's really important for us to do this. A couple of important points. We are not judging anybody. We have no system for judging anybody. We have no mechanism for judging anybody, and it is not our goal. It's a totally objective system, and you drive what your level is going to be by providing enough evidence for the claims that you want to be verified, and doing your KYC. So if you're a serious creator and you want to be recognized among the serious creators, then you will do what you have to elevate your level. It's that simple. And we don't make it overly difficult. We make it pretty simple, actually, for you to do this. Mike, you had some thoughts on creator categories, so I wanted you to chime in there and talk about it a little bit, if you can join.
Yeah. So I know there's been a lot of conversations around the quality of artwork that's on search, and how do we sort a perceived Rolex from a Timex, and do we group them together? Do we just do an open market and just throw everything up on search and just let it go? But you have to understand that once we start onboarding galleries that can recognize quality artwork, it's a very slippery slope. We do need to make sure that we have categories of different proficiency levels, as artists. As a photographer, I can very quickly look at 2 or 3 pictures from a photographer and tell whether or not they're skilled, or whether or not they're a professional versus an artist or hobbyist, or that sort of thing. So it is kind of delicate to approach this and try to sort artwork in a way that's non-biased, because you do want to create a free market, but at the same time, you want to have some structure and organization, to provide not only the artists, but the art buyers. So I think Nick and I both support this is a great solution in order to do that. We are exploring other solutions as well, and this is going to be an ongoing, not concern, but an ongoing feature that we're going to continue to develop as we grow. But we do want to represent our best work. As more artists come to the stage, if they see hobbyists, the vast majority of hobbyists, it's not going to look good for the brand. So we do need to kind of divide the artwork into sections, and I think this is a great solution for that. But it is a work in progress, so just keep that in mind. And we are building this out. But just know that we're not trying to be our curators. We're really trying to just provide a make sense approach to onboarding artists and artwork, and categorize them as such.
Yeah, and this is a good opportunity to remind everyone, build in the open. Build in the open means we get your feedback at the beginning, we get your feedback in the middle, and we get your feedback after things are done. We constantly get your feedback. We show you what we're doing, and what that results in is a better product, a high quality product that everyone, especially the intended users, our customers, already know what's coming. There are no surprises, no secrets, and as open and transparent as possible. So let's take some questions around creator levels, if there are any. See a couple.
One question was, does the artist pay for the Synapse KYC?
On Vitruveo, an artist never pays for anything that is required of the platform. There will be premium features in the future, which are optional. If you feel like paying for them, you will. But otherwise, artists always pay $0.
Perfect. RSS, Nick, is the creator level we'll implement now because VOSD are using, or will be after VOSD expired? So basically, will we get this launched prior to expiration?
There's no connection between the two. We are trying to get this implemented, but it's a very complex thing. So we're going to have the first part of it done, which is the KYC plus the profile points. The claim system is fairly complex. It's going to take some time to bring that up. So We'll start off with, we'll probably see the profile and the KYC stuff as early as a month from now.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that does it for specific for these questions.
Okay, great. All right. So then all that leaves us with is to talk about the implementation plan, which is, as I was just saying, we've got the profile in progress. The KYC comes next. We'll get those things done, and then we'll move on to the creator claims. All right. Next up, Saturday Night Fever. All right. I found a photo of me with a spotlight, which I thought would be great because we are launching Spotlight here today. So Saturday Night Fever, we learned the feedback was not conducive to a lot of people's sleep because it was in the middle of night for a large number of people. So we're going to have Saturday Night Fever in the morning this time, and we're going to try and alternate that. So this Saturday, which is tomorrow, October 5th, we will have Saturday Night Fever at the same time as this session was at 10 a.m. PST, 5 p.m. UTC, giving all you people who want to have a good weekend sleep, a restful and beautiful sleep, so you can join us in the daytime and have some fun with us. So we are going to do Vortex airdrops. We're going to do pending art buys for whatever was left over from Thursday. Although I believe this Thursday we might have actually captured it all, but I'll find out. I will also commit here that all pending airdrops will be done before we start that session. That means I have between now and tomorrow morning to get all the pending airdrops from the previous Saturday Night Fever done. I know we owe a few, so we'll take care of that. So yeah, that is it. And so that was our first spotlight. Very exciting. Lots of news packed here. Thanks everyone for joining. Do we have some more Q&A we need to do, Mike?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we got a few. Somebody recommended, I think Phantom recommended Saturday morning hangover. All right. Raz, Nick or Mike, can you please confirm if the Vibe holders receive 2% share of the revenue, or they share of all the revenue, as there seems to be a daily debate about this in Discord? Yeah, we covered this a little bit. Yeah, we covered this
is about. Oh, sorry. You go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, it's fine. Because so the 2% revenue share for the Vibe, obviously we have 1 million Vibe, and the best way to put it is any native project that Vitruveo produces, right, is eligible for that 2%. There are exceptions to that. Neon Circus, I think, is currently, they don't have to, but I think they are contributing a portion of the fees to the Vibe pool. That is optional. Third-party apps are optional to contribute to the 2%. But the whole purpose of the Vibe pool is the Vitruveo ecosystem. So all 2% of all revenue created by the Vitruveo ecosystem goes to the Vibe pool, that 2% revenue. That's the easiest way to explain it. So if we have, another game or something like that that's not a part of that's not a native game from Vitruveo, it most likely will not contribute to Vibe, but we just needed to clarify that.
I just want to add some color to that. Another way you can think about that is by phrasing. Use the phrasing blockchain project or projects on the blockchain. If it's a blockchain project, there's going to be revenue share always. The 2% is not guaranteed. That's the 2% is what we've built into Exhibit. But for blocks, etc., we might build more, we might build less. It will vary. But the key phrase here is blockchain project, which implies a project initiated by the blockchain core team or the blockchain protocol, if you will. Project on the blockchain means someone built on the Vitruveo blockchain. And as Mike said, don't know. We have no control over that. If they are welcome to, and we encourage everyone to send money to the Vibe contract, because that gets distributed, but we have no control and we don't have any rules around that. So blockchain project, yes. Project on blockchain, maybe. So that answers that one. What's next? Mike, you're muted.
My headphone died. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah. So case in point, like let's say Sabang, Sabang Evolution, Garfield is, hey, I want to contribute to the Vibe, revenue, or the revenue to the blockchain. So we're helping them, develop their project. They're helping us with contributing to the Vibe pool. So that's an example of a collaboration. We're always going to try to steer people to the 2%. Just know that that's our heart and our strategy. But I want to make a clear distinction between those two.
Yeah.
Okay. Many of us still have lots of granted VUSD to spend, but it can be hard to find artworks which are eligible. Can we please have a filter added to search to facilitate this?
Yeah, there's already a filter. It's called artists with no sales. So yeah, if you, I can show you how to do that. So you can go here and you can select grouped no sales, and you'll find artists with no sales, and they're almost guaranteed to be able to be usable with that. So and that list is growing every day because we are getting lots and lots of consignments on a daily basis. So that would be the best way to go about it.
Mm-hmm. Great. Mike, can you give us an idea on when we can expect regarding poet incentives?
Yeah, so I've always said once we get a marketing associate, we don't have one yet, but I know that people need to get that done. So let's just say that before the end of October, we will have that done. So that give ourselves a little bit of time to get that resolved.
Yeah. Can we have a like function for artworks, please? Example, I can't afford it, but I like it.
No, not yet. And I'll tell you why. We have very limited engineering resources because everything costs money. And our focus is on building out the entire platform at an MVP level, a minimum viable product. So likes, etc., are vanity metrics. Even on X, etc., likes, followers are vanity metrics. So they don't contribute in any way to meaningful sales and things like that. So we would wait on that. We absolutely will have it, but it's not on our MVP, minimum viable product list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked about that. We also talked about reviewing artwork that the community can, do a review or review an artist, and then we can subcategorize those into people with the highest reviews, get preferential exposure, that sort of thing. We're exploring all of those, that functionality. But again, I think that's going to be something that will come later on down the road. Okay, Mike, any updates on Vortex? Yes. So let me kind of give you guys an overview of Vortex and blocks. What's kind of where our starting point was, what transpired since we started, and then where we are today. That'll be the easiest way to do it. So when we initially launched Vortex, or the idea, the concept of Vortex, we had kind of a rough outline of what we were going to do. We ended up carving out kind of a rough outline of the game itself. We refined it. We went into a collaboration with a developer. The developer produced some content for us. Some of it was amazing. Some of it was a little underwhelming. But we didn't feel that it was the direction of the game was going to be strong enough in order for what we wanted to produce. We really wanted to hit a home run with this. At the same time that happened, the idea of building out a gaming vertical happened, which is where we had blocks coming in. Then we started focusing, okay, well, let's build that vertical first. So we started focusing on blocks. We're in current development on the landing page, building out the branding, doing all of that. We're almost done with that. And now we're going to be shifting gears and completing the vision that we have for Vortex. I've committed to Nick that for the next 2 days, the priorities are going to be Vortex for me personally, and as well as the investor deck for Dubai.
Those are kind of our critical things over the next 48 hours. So we're hoping that we can have a major update for you on the next spotlight. So stay tuned for that. Okay, hi Mike and Nick. Awesome spotlight today. Good job as always. Quick question: when can we finally expect the promised DEX buy rewards?
You already delivered those, so I'm not sure what they're talking about.
Yeah, there might be. I'm trying to think. There were two separate ones.
We've delivered them for the liquidity ones, and for the buy ones, we don't have a solution yet on because we see a lot of patterns of buy and immediately sell, so that kind of negates the intent of giving an incentive there. So we don't have a good solution for that. But in terms of liquidity, until a certain date, it's been done, and then we'll do that again. Maybe every month or so, we'll go through and just take care of it since the last date that was paid out.
Yeah, we did start to explore the idea of upgrading our DEX to V3 so that it can get listed on DEX Tools and DEX Screener, that sort of thing. We're in talks with developers right now trying to find the right partner to upgrade it to either PancakeSwap V3 or Uniswap. And that's an ongoing development. As soon as we kind of work that out, that'll probably be a 3-week, 4-week build out, depending upon the developer. And we will institute certain DEX LP liquidity pools and that sort of thing and tie some promotions to that. So it is coming. I know that it's a big concern for a lot. It's a big concern for us as well. We just have to, it's a matter of trying to get 12 things done at the same time, but it's coming. Nick, if a dashboard Vitru stake number are off, who should it be reported to? The Vitro stake number.
Yeah, we don't even have Vitro on the dashboard. So Aris, can you clarify?
He might be saying Vitru, but yeah, just ping one of the mods, and then we'll start working on that for you in Discord.
Actually, I can also preempt that a little bit. So the 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year numbers are 100% accurate, but I did receive feedback that, and I noticed, and it was too late, so I didn't implement it yet. But I noticed that the compounding formula, the APR interest formula for the smaller periods, 30, 60, 180, etc., was slightly different than the one used for the longer term. So that is probably why there's a difference there. So I will commit that before the staking feature is released in that app, which is in the next 2 or 3 days, I will also redo the formula for the smaller stakes. So just hold tight and don't unstake right now. That just wait a few more days. You can unstake, and those numbers will be updated correctly.
Okay, great. Hey, Gus. At Nick and Mike, how will copyright trademark be handled? I noticed yesterday that there were some artworks that may infringe on copyright and trademark with the artwork.
Yeah, so it is not possible to do this in an automated fashion. So one of the things we'll do is, like with all other platforms, have a report button. So when you see something, you would have to report it, and then we would need to create a process to handle those reports and manage those. So that involves manpower, which we currently don't have. So my suggestion would be that we go ahead and implement a report feature, but give us 30 to 60 days to reply to it, because we expect that there will be, again, lots of fakes there. People will report, people just to create problems will report other people's artworks, etc. And so we have to work against, we have to find a good solution for that. So yeah, I made a note to add a report feature, but that'll be how we handle it.
Great. Nick, are investors using or utilizing VUSD?
The VUSD page is not yet up, which I committed to having up here in my persona slide. I talked about how patrons are going to have, we are going to actually invite existing patrons, probably around 15 to 20 of them. And that will be contemporaneous with the launch of a VUSD buy page. So the answer to your question is no, but it's going to happen very soon, within the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Doc Martin, scope staking Vitru. Is there a reason or a benefit to leave available to unstake untouched?
Yes, because with the staking feature, we're going to give you the ability to immediately put that back directly and offer a small bonus for doing that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do the equity pools have a certain limit? Then how many folks it can take?
At present, we don't plan on it. It is intended to be a way for future people who join the ecosystem to also partake in the revenue share, because we have no other mechanism by which to give it. I understand the concern being that, hey, this should only be for early folks, etc. It is noted, and maybe we need to have a discussion about that, because we need a mechanism by which people who come later are also, can share. But it's also true that people who come early make the most sacrifices and therefore should be most eligible. So I would love to see a debate in Discord about this, and we can reach a consensus of the community. We are open to closing that off at a certain point.
Yeah. You do have the dilution factor,
Yeah.
And I think we've talked in the past about having a max or a cap or a cutoff. Currently, the way the staking pools or the equity pools are designed is it's a swap. So you swap your Vitru for the, but there might be value in maybe not doing a swap, maybe just depositing or staking your Vitru in the contract, and then giving you the ability to unstake within the equity pool, but then you lose the Vibe rev share. So I think that's probably would make more sense. And then possibly putting a cutoff.
If you do the staking, then we don't even need a cutoff, right? Because it's going to be fluid at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we do need to revisit that and maybe run some models and just run some sample numbers to see. But if it is fluid, that would solve some of those problems, and that way people, you want to make it desirable. You don't want to make it punitive. Okay. When staking Vitru, do you get access to the APR and rebases as they occur? In other words, is it just the amount staked that is locked for the term? So he's talking about rebases.
Yeah. So the APR also, right? So we basically have this model for all our apps that we want to create, where rebases are always available. So we'll be making sure that rebases are available at any time, but the APR, the reward, the whole point of it is you get it at the end of the term. You don't get it during the term. So your original stake plus your APR is available at the end of the term. Your rebases are available along the way.
Yeah. So we didn't really touch on that within the creator staking when I was kind of talking about that. But the thought process is that you accumulate a bag of Vitru and then you liquidate or sell your rebases and your Vibe as income. So you want to accumulate as much Vitru as you possibly can, and then liquidate your rebases and Vibe. So that way you're supplementing your current income without sacrificing a huge opportunity to accumulate sustainable income as the price appreciates. Okay, many of us still have lots of granted VOST to spend, but it could be hard to find. Okay, we covered that one.
Yeah.
Nick, I'm thinking about KYC data. How is it safe?
I think I already covered it.
Yeah, it's a
third-party
company. Yeah, third-party provider. We don't house that data. Let me just see that's out from the start that I put. Let me just review to see if there's anything outstanding here.
Biz had one. Where is it? Here we go. I found it. I'm gonna add it here. Okay, community question. What will be the use of Vitro and reason to stake? So I've always been very clear that Vitro is going to be used significantly for the ecosystem growth with regard to Exhibit. So in this case, specifically, when we onboard institutions and they create their store, they have the option also to tokenize it. They have the option either at that point or later to create a token for their ecosystem. So whether if it's a gallery, a museum, or whatever. So when they do that, a portion of that token at the point of minting is distributed pro rata among all the Vitro stakers. So you will end up with a bag of a multitude of different tokens. The galleries, museums, etc., they would be, as part of that process, would also provide liquidity and list it on our DEX. So it's a seamless process, and that's where Vitro comes in. So if you are staked with Vitro at the point when someone generates a new token and mints it, you would get a portion of it as a staker, a Vitro staker.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty cool benefit, I think, because you have a very wide array of tokens then that you would be able to get.
Yeah, so I think that kind of covers everything, Nick. There is one other thing that I want to kind of cover that I see in Discord quite a bit, which is the price, the Vitru price. This is what kind of causes some of the contention, within the community on sell pressure, that sort of thing. And the best way that I can tell you our perspective, there was some people that were saying, well, price doesn't matter. Yes, price always matters. But the question is it only matters to those people that are selling. It doesn't matter today, right? If you're not planning on selling. Kind of like the real estate. If you buy a house, what's the value of my house today? What's the value of my house tomorrow? You wouldn't do that. There's just kind of a consensus. And then there are times when the market dips. There's times when the market appreciates. The same thing, it goes in development. You have to be reminded that we are in development, and the price is really just on a native DEX. It's not publicly listed. If we didn't have the circuit breaker in place, Vitru would be exactly where Vitro is. It would have gone to a penny in one day. There is no qualms about that, and all the liquidity would be gone. So we originally thought, hey, why don't we just actually purposely crash the price, put it at a penny and allow that to happen, and then just kind of grow from there. It'll find a floor, and then, just kind of hover around there. What we chose to do, we didn't do that because we did have, 50 cents was kind of where our comfort level was. But we've seen some, sell pressure because we didn't have those staking options available. We expect that sell pressure will subside as more creators are staking, and as we strengthen our messaging and our ethos on creating sustainable income for creators. And I think OGs have a pretty good grip on a long-term outlook. Yes, we had some bot action that, people were trying to, game it that way. But those are pretty much under control. So moving forward, I did a post yesterday about what the team's view on prices. And we really want to get the price prior to list around that 50-cent range. We anticipate that once the reduced sell pressure happens with the staking, we will insert periodic liquidity, to manage that price and bump it up more into the 50-cent level is kind of where we'd like to see it. I'm sure it'll hover around 30 to 50 cents until the end of the year. At which point, in the beginning of December, well, I guess we're going to be starting marketing here towards the second week of October. We're going to be pushing VO, and we do expect more money coming into the ecosystem where we can insert more liquidity and pump that price up. What we need, what the team needs, what the community needs is buy-in on the staking, and really to reduce that sell pressure. So the price is what it is right now because that's what the community has created. It's not Nick or I managing the price, it's the community. And so we really need to support each other and get behind, having a longer term perspective on the future of the blockchain in order to, help that price out. When we list in December, January, we really want to hit the ground running, and we don't want to have tons of sell pressure. We really want to give the chain a chance to build liquidity, because when the price goes up, we can sell some coins from the treasury that will create more revenue for us and more development costs. We can build the team out more. We can get things done faster. It'll help a lot. So I just want to appeal to the community to be mindful of that, be responsible, to the other artists, be responsible to the other investors, try to hold as much as you can to protect the price. Take advantage of the staking options. A 30-second or a 30-cent Tier 1 blockchain is nothing. You'll be well rewarded in time, but we just need really for people to buy into that and continue with that momentum. So that's my soapbox spiel. Let's just see. Just looking at some last minute stuff, Nick.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we've got pretty much. Yeah, I think we're good, Nick, overall.
Okay, cool. If we didn't answer any questions, please repeat them in Discord, and we'll be sure to pick up and follow up on them.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. I think this was great, and lots of work to do, and especially get that deck done in the next 48 hours. So lots of work going on here. And I will see you tomorrow morning, everybody, on Saturday Night Fever in the morning. So
Saturday morning fever.
Saturday morning fever. All right. That's it. Everyone, we are out. Thank you, and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Take care.